Hello and welcome to the Ultimate PvM Completionist. Up to now in the series, we have just been recording all of our progress, and we're going to continue to do that, but I figured I would put a little twist on it and just say that this is really the turning point of my account where I feel like I can get into all kinds of PvM. So with that, I feel like what better than naming this series the Ultimate PvM Completionist, where we take on various bosses and content in the game and try to unlock some of the coolest and biggest upgrades that we can get. If you've already been watching videos in this series, then you can just continue watching from this episode on. But if you are new to the series, then you can take a look at the link in the description. That will be another video where I just recap and kind of give a refresher of where I'm at with various bosses, my KCs on them, my thoughts on them, some of the items I've already received. I figured it would be a great way to kick off this Ultimate PvM Completionist series. So again, if you're new, definitely check out that video. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy. And after quite a bit of KC at Vorkath, we finally got another Vorkath's head. And this is pretty significant because we can put this on the range cape that we have, and that will allow us to drop our Ava's assembler in the future to free up an inventory space. Alright, now that we have got the Vorkath's head stored away, that means eventually we can drop the Ava's assembler, which we are probably going to do pretty soon. But there are, I think, two things I want to do a little bit of before I drop the Ava's assembler. Honestly, for no particular reason, but I figure why not just use it for these last couple of ranged base grinds. So the first one being Zulrah. I'm actually going to go and do Zulrah right now. We are currently at 818 KC, 7 out of 10 uniques. Hopefully we can get maybe one unique. I'm going to maybe go until like 1000 KC, just round it off there. I think that'll last us quite a while in terms of scales and whatnot. Maybe we'll get a duplicate that we can disassemble for scales. But yeah, ultimately we are still hunting 3 uniques. So those are definitely things we're going to want to hopefully get. If we look at the log, there aren't many of these that we can do right this second. These speed chaser ones are most likely not going to happen because we're doing a ranged only setup. Maybe we could get the speed trialist if we got really lucky. I have not actually done Zulrah since I got the Bofa and Rigger, so maybe that's possible. But we can probably do Snake Rebound at some point in one of these kills. We will switch to Vengeance or to the Lunar Spellbook and then try and use Vengeance as the killing blow. Well, we almost got a personal best. I mean, we almost got the combat achievement on the first try. Alright, after just about 15 KC back, or 16 KC back, we already beat the Zulrah Speed Trialist, which is one of the first speedrunning tasks. There are a few other ones that are definitely not achievable with my current gear setup, so we'll probably have to come back to those someday. But it's nice to get that one knocked out, and it didn't even take that much KC, which is really nice. I don't know if other people have the same experience as I do with Zulrah, but I find myself getting so frustrated with this boss because, you know, you're just having a good time, the kill feels like it's going pretty well, it's going pretty quick, and then out of nowhere, you just get clapped, and there's just nothing you can do about it. But you know, sometimes you clap back, and that's a new personal best way faster than the 120 that we were originally anticipating being a little bit challenging. That is 900 KC at Zulrah. No crazy drops or anything insane happening, but with that, we're actually going to take a break from Zulrah, and instead we're going to go and get set up to do some giant mole so that we can eventually make some more brews. Okay, I'm not sure if this is a bug. You can see on my map, you see how it's like flashing? I don't even know what you would call that. It's really weird, but it like is inconsistent, and I don't know what happened, but the mole just started doing that. I've tried dropping my Falador shield and then picking it back up, but it's not really locating it frequently, and sometimes it actually just doesn't show it for like 20 or 30 seconds at a time. I'm not sure if that's normal. Also, if you're wondering why am I using super energies here, my answer really is just that I've had this stack of super energies on me for such an insanely long time. I've never dropped them. I don't really know why. Super energies are not really hard to get. Aventos are a pretty abundant source if you go back to Slayer, and I mean, they're not really dropped, I think, by too many bosses, but yeah, ultimately, I'm just using them here because they're just a, you know, budget version of a stamina potion. And I don't really want to use my staminas here because I don't plan to get a whole lot of staminas for a while. So the giant mole has been finished. We have just a little over the amount of mole parts that we need right now. I have 1529, but I also planted a few seeds, so we're gonna go get those. But this should be enough. And we got 4100 U-logs, which is more than I was thinking, but that's nice. We're gonna use some of those up. I mean, who knows? I might get kind of bored halfway through and not use up all of them, but we are gonna use those up. We do want to maybe eventually get to 90 fletching. Overall, though, we are ending at 1620 KC, so we are a little over half the drop rate for the pet, which we did not get in these last like 500 kills or so. Is this the property of Rock, or is this me? I'm not quite sure, but either way, this is 86 farming. This level is not particularly on the surface useful, but if we +5 boost, you can see with the special we can plant 2 spirit trees at a time, which is kind of nice because, I mean, let's be honest, 99 is quite a ways away even with a +5 boost, but 2 spirit trees is good because I have one planted currently in the farming guild, I believe, and if I go and plant one either in Prifddinas or in near Port Sarim, that'll be really good because in the off chance we need a easy way to get back to our house, we can go ahead and plant one of those in the house, and it doesn't count towards this special limit. So these 2 planted are not including the one in the player-owned house, meaning I can technically have 3, and if I ever need to get back to my house, as I mentioned, it would be nice to have these planted around the game so that I can get to them. Well, now that we've completed Giant Mole for now, we are going to go ahead and clean up all of our herbs and start to make some potions because we have a lot to make, a lot of brews, and the brews are probably going to give us a good amount of seeds that we can then plant to make potentially even more potions. Nice, that's the first spirit seed we've received so far, and we still have plenty of nests to open, so I think there's a good chance we'll get a second one. But either way, we're going to go and plant this one real quick because otherwise our seed box is quite full right now, and we won't be able to hold this in the inventory with the 20 spaces that we're using. Now with this build teleport space, we can actually just put the spirit sapling. Need a watering can. Okay, we'll be right back. So now we can build the spirit sapling, and we can use this as a way to travel. So, you know, we have access to all the typical ones and the farming guild, which is the one that we would use probably the most. This final jump down will give us 80 agility, which is a pretty good level. And the reason we did this, well, there's a few reasons, but I mean, we were just doing some agility because I've been farming out my seeds. So I've gotten through all of them that we got from the mole grind. So these are the last few we're going to go plant in a moment. And we've been collecting secondaries and other things as well, because I still need to use up a lot of potions. So we've done the bulk of it, but there's a little bit more that we need to do. But other than that, The other thing is that this allows us to use the Taverley Dungeon Spiked Blades jump, which is the shortcut that is a bit faster than the pipe shortcut in the Taverley Dungeon, which makes getting to Cerberus really, really easy, and that's nice to have. So that's something we did, and that's really the end of us doing the Sears course, because now we can do the Relica Agility course, I believe it is. Alright, now I know people are going to probably not like this decision that I'm about to make, but I am going to sell my full Graceful. Now there's a couple of reasons why. I'm going to drop my super energies, and I don't plan to make any more super energies for a while. And with that, I don't plan to make more staminas for a while. This is kind of the one time I'm going to make a good amount of them. I have 112 marks of grace, and selling the full set will give me 208 marks of grace, so that'll put me at a nice even number to buy amylase packs. Now, honestly, Graceful is awesome to have. It is always useful, and since it's storable for an Ultimate Ironman, it's kind of a no-brainer to keep it. But the thing is, I find myself needing to wear Graceful less and less as I play the account. I'm not really focused on doing skilling activities where being in Graceful is beneficial. So we've sold it now. We're at 320 marks of grace, which we can actually use to buy amylase packs. This will make 3,200 doses of stamina potion, and we already have it like 15 or 1600 in the Hespori Death Bank right now, so that is great to see. That's going to last us an extremely long time. Alright, we are ready to get back into a bit of Slayer. That's not something I've said in a while, because we have not done regular Slayer in over a year. And speak of the devil, we got 176 Hellhounds. That was very quick, actually, so we're going to go get set up and do some Cerberus for the first time ever. I've actually never done Cerberus. Very cool. We got the Pegasian Crystal. It's only worth 70k. That's kind of sad. I mean, I don't know what it high alks for, or if it's high alkable, but that is a collection log slot nonetheless. That is on 11 kill count. We got the Pegasian Crystal. That's pretty lucky. I believe for any of the crystals, it is 1 in 128, so definitely ahead of the drop rate. Pegasian is not particularly useful for us because, honestly, Pegasians as a boot is not really that great, I think. And also for an Ultimate Ironman, it's really not that good. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that are already aware of how to do Cerberus, but I figured I would explain the ghost skipping method that I've been using, which makes it a lot more chill and actually saves a lot of prayer, but it does cost you a bit of time in order to get more kills. So I'm not quite sure if it's more efficient or not, but in my case, I don't really think I'm going to be building up huge stacks of prayer potions. As we know, I don't have a high thieving level. I don't plan to do master farmers and things like that for prayer potions in the future, so I figured I'd quickly explain this. Cerberus will spawn ghosts once every 30 seconds or a minute when below 400 hit points. But this means that when you start the kill and you set a timer for 1 minute, you'll actually be skipping a fair amount of the ghosts in the entire fight. So the idea is to get Cerberus down right above 400 HP, which you can actually use a weapon that's not arc light for this because you ultimately need to kill a minute of time anyways. And once that timer is up, you can put on your arc light or use your DDS to kill Cerberus as fast as possible, which will typically allow you to skip all of the ghosts and save you a ton of prayer through the entire fight. This is really nice if you're just like me and you don't like to collect a lot of prayer potions or do a lot of thieving at Master Farmer. And we got the Jar of Souls, which is a really cool item, honestly, to get. I love how it looks in the player-owned house, And so, yeah, it's nice that we'll be able to add it to our collection with our Zulrah POH display. And honestly, yeah, the Cerberus one is just awesome. And shortly after getting the Jar of Souls, we end up getting the Eternal Crystal, which is not actually a really great item, but I wonder if it does have any uses with the Tunic Shadow now being an item in the game. I wonder if it has a little bit more of a benefit there because of the way that that stat works. But yeah, very cool to see. And we also got the Smoldering Stone, which is an also big item. It's actually worth quite a bit of GP, so that's kind of nice. But unfortunately, we don't have a particular use for it, so this may just be a drop. I totally forgot that the Pegasian Crystal is really not worth very much because the expensive component is the Ranger Boots. So we're just going to actually alch it because it alchs for 27k and its G value is 60k, so it's not really worth it. We're going to go ahead and alch that. I've been holding on to it for some reason, but I'm not really ever going to get Ranger Boots, and I don't even think it's really worth the slot on an Ultimate Ironman. We can teleport on out of here and look at our log because we got a lot of items. If we look at the collections logged for Cerberus, we have almost everything in a single task, which I do find a little funny because the only useful item from Cerberus really is the Primordial Crystal, for an Ultimate Ironman specifically. But honestly, it is kind of crazy that we got so many collection log slots obtained in this one single task. I'm definitely going to come back and do more Cerberus in the future. I want that Primordial. I think I'm going to take a break from Cerberus and mix it up and do something else. Now, I believe they've added some combat achievements to the Tombs of Amascut, which I'll probably go over a little later once I've kind of gotten the hang of doing tombs again. But we can look at our raids. We have 50 normal completions, 14 entry modes, and 0 expert, which I definitely want to get into eventually doing solo experts. Yikes, that first raid back was really, really bad. I died, I think, twice. We did get a cache of runes on this chest, which is pretty funny. I'm starting to pick up some additional useful tactics here, and one of them is that you can actually lock the meleeer into this spawn that it comes from, so it'll always spawn in the same area here. And if you stand on this gray tile, which you can't really see that well because I marked it as gray and it blends in, but if you stand on that third tile away when you're about to get pushed back, it will actually create a straight line that will just completely block it and not take up so much space in the room, which is really nice. So another tip that apparently you can do is if you stand a tile back and you time this correctly, you can actually get an additional tick right here when you mine. You have to click right before the attack actually travels. I don't know if the distance of the beam matters, but this does make it so that you can get a 2 down at my mining level a little bit more consistently. I don't actually know if the BGS affects Akka at all. I think the stats reset like every time it teleports or something like that, so I'm just going to use it anyways because we're going to definitely regenerate our spec by the time this phase is over. I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but what I've found that works for me is with a 4-tick weapon like the Bofa, I will actually just move 2 tiles walking, and that will allow me to dodge lightning on the floor and also any falling boulders from Baba, and then I can get an attack in as well. And I've really found that this helps me avoid a lot of damage because in the beginning I was noticing I was just taking obscene amounts of damage from random stuff. Just hit a 138. I think that's the highest I've ever hit. That 265 level raid felt so much harder than a 250. I don't really know why, but man, it was really tough. I think I used all of my ambrosia. No, dude. Oh, look at the pain in my face right there. Look at the pain. Nice. 10 Ranar seeds. That's actually huge. So you can see that we have a purple here. Honestly, I'm a little upset about it. I'm not gonna lie, because this raid was actually going pretty well, and then you can see I have a death here, and this death was actually at the final phase of Wardens. I actually was doing really well. I skull skipped actually once for the first time successfully, and I was feeling really good, and then I died to something really stupid. Insanity sometimes is extremely punishing and not very fun when it comes to the skulls. Alright, well, we're gonna open it up. Here's to really hoping that it is the Fang. Oh my god, I'm not even gonna lie. That just hurts even more. It actually genuinely hurts even more that I got a ring. Looking at the log, we have now 2 light bearers in 64 completions and 14 entry modes, with majority of the completions being around 200 before recently. You know, positive affirmations. This is going to be the item that I'm looking for. There's a lot of good items. There's more good items than there are bad items that I need. Not bad, not bad at all. Alright, recently they have released an update that allows you to recolor the crystal armor, so I believe we can just take this off, and we are actually going to do black because it will match the infernal cape a little bit more, and that's really what we've been rocking. So wow, looks really cool. And I don't know what color to do for the bow. I might actually make the bow red so that it will complement the boots a little more, maybe fit the necklace a little bit more, and the cape. All right, I kind of like this setup. Kind of like the all black with the red bow and the red boots. Hopefully we can upgrade those at some point. And the infernal cape along with it looks really good. It kind of all matches. I mean, the infernal cape is a bit more of an orange, but it goes with the necklace. Oh my goodness. All right, it's time for another purple. It hurts, man. It really hurts. We did it! We did an expert mode KC, and we did it in a pretty good time, 38 minutes and 33 seconds. I cannot complain about that. We got a couple of combat achievements. Wow, we finally did an expert mode KC at the Tombs of Amascut. Well, no purple, but that is a really solid rewards chest, actually. Definitely a lot more regular drops. And yeah, 2,400 death runes from a single raid. We're up to 5.8k on that. There it is. That's KC 100 at the Tombs of Amascut, which is a pretty big milestone. That is tied for our highest raid completion. We have 100 Chambers of Xeric as well. And we have a 3.89% chance to get a unique on this last Tombs of Amascut that we're going to do for this time period, I guess. We're definitely going to come back. We have to. You know, we have to do the slow walk for the dramatic effect. No purple. But that's okay. So as always, I'll put up on screen right now the loot from 100 Tombs of Amascut. I'm not really sure why it says 119 because that doesn't really make sense. Overall, 4 uniques in this KC I think is actually fairly lucky. So unfortunately we didn't get really a whole lot of individual unique items so that we could fill out more of this log. We didn't get a single gem, which I think is maybe a little dry from that standpoint. We unfortunately got 3 light bearers and no fang, so that is a little tough, but we're gonna come back at some point. And honestly, the fang is really good, but I don't think it's super critical that I have it right now for any of the content I'm looking to do.